Welcome to another episode of College Town Talk. I'm Shan Stout.
And I'm Jonathan Frank.
Jonathan, I cannot believe this is our last podcast episode before the holiday break. I feel like I need some hot cocoa and I need to stick on my mittens and just be ready for the celebration. Can you believe it?
Hey, it's definitely cold enough for that right now.
So, do you have any holiday traditions in your family?
I'm the oldest of four, and actually, one of my sisters is married. We all live kind of away from our family home where we grew up, and so we go to my parents' house each year for Christmas, spend a few days. We do a big family thing at my grandmother's house on Christmas Eve, and then we come home and wait, of course, for Santa.
Oh, okay. So you mean that
Yeah,
you
Santa, yes. I don't have a fireplace at my house in Cookville, so I have to go to my parents' house so that he can come down the chimney.
right, but you do know that
No,
Santa.
no, what, Shan? I've already sent my list to the North Pole.
Well, it's it's just that you know what? Never mind. We've got two great guests to help us close out 2024 today, and we'll save this conversation for another day. We're talking with Tennessee Tech alumnus and the co-owner of Cream City Ice Cream and Coffee House right here in Cookville, Chris Savage.
And then we're talking with the winner of Tennessee Tech's 2024 Outstanding Young Alumna Award, Brittany Herman. Brittany graduated from Tech in 2017, summa cum laude, by the way, and is now a successful practicing attorney who founded the nonprofit We Will, which is dedicated to sexual assault prevention and survivor empowerment.
We can't wait to speak with them both. Let's go ahead and kick things off with the co-owner of Cream City Ice Cream and Coffee House, Chris Savage. Welcome back to College Town Talk. We are now joined by co-owner of one of Cookville's most iconic and beloved local businesses, and he and his beautiful wife are just as sweet as the ice cream they serve to our hungry locals, tourists, and Tennessee Tech students every single day. Of course, we're talking about Chris Savage, who, with his wife Karen, owns Cream City Ice Cream and Coffee House. What a great place. Now, in addition to being successful small business owners, Chris and Karen are proud Tennessee Tech alumni and the parents of three great children, two of which are Tech graduates. Now, Chris also previously served our community as a Putnam County Commissioner. Chris, welcome to College Town Talk.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, Chris, as the owners of Cream City Ice Cream, you and Karen have taken on a rich legacy that goes back all the way to the late 1800s. And now, on your watch, this beloved Cookville institution is stronger than ever. But there was also a period of time before you stepped in when it looked like Cream City's days serving sweet treats and happy memories were over. And that happens to a lot of small businesses over time. So, for those who may not know, can you tell us more about Cream City's history and how you ended up owning and operating this very special place?
Sure. It's like you said, we have a picture in our front seating area of an old building that's from the late 1800s that says ice cream parlor on it, which is it's the current building site. And then Mr. Whitaker, famous around Cookville, started Consumer City. He expanded Consumer City from Murfreesboro. They started competing against each other. Their territories overlaps. He changed it in the 40s to Cream City. And we have a sign up when you walk in the door just above the ice cream that used to be on the outside of the building that was probably from the 40s. 1950, there was a fire, burnt the building down, and it was rebuilt. When it was rebuilt is when they installed the neon sign up above, which it predates the interstate. Spring Street, Highway 70 was the main thoroughfare between Nashville and Knoxville. And so us being on Broad, he needed a sign to attract folks, passersby, besides just the community to stop in there and see what was going on. And in 1986, Mayfield bought Cream City and proceeded to shut down this location. It's been a variety of different businesses, even a residence. Folks that have been here, my first experience was with Cream City Tees. It was a T-shirt shop in the mid '80s, late '80s, early '90s, and I can remember that being a tech student. Cream City Tees, and then it's been a restaurant, an accounting office, We took over in January 1st, 2013. So we've completed almost 11 years right now, going into our 12th, which has been fantastic. Some friends of ours started in July. Prior to that, July 2012, decided they wanted to move into a different direction. We had the opportunity to purchase the business, and that's what we did.
I know that there are a lot of community members, tech students, tourists that are very glad that you did because it is just such a staple of the community. And I know that you and Karen are both proud Tennessee Tech alumni. You have a degree in engineering. She has a degree in marketing, and I've read that you leaned on your educational background in running this business. In fact, Cookeville Lifestyle magazine wrote a great story about you all last year and said this. I'm quoting here from the article. With a background in civil engineering, Chris wasted no time in streamlining the inventory and equipment management for the new family business. Karen utilized her marketing background to develop relationships with schools, Tennessee Tech, and the community, cross-promoting Cream City at events where their target audience would likely be present. So can you tell us a little bit more about your years at Tennessee Tech and how they prepared you for your role as small business owners today?
Well, with tech, you get a quality education, no matter the major, but specifically for me, especially engineering, they have a rich history of producing engineers prepared for the world. And that's what I'll say they do is they teach us. I feel like tech teaches their engineers how to solve problems. And that's the key to it. In my work experience after I graduated, worked as an engineer for a while, and that was what made it good for me to come in here to our business and just let my engineering mind go crazy and kind of geek out on everything. And I got the total say in doing that part of it, which was a lot of fun. And then same way with the business degree, Karen, there again, teaching folks how to solve problems, how to interact in the real world was good for both of us. She was able to use her marketing knowledge from college and experience after she had graduated to just take this to the next level in promotions and making people aware that Cream City Ice Cream is a great place to be. Involving tech, especially, we love our relationship with tech. We do a lot of events throughout the year with different programs of tech, and the local elementary, high schools, just community involvement all the way around. Senior Citizen Center, Highland Residential Services. We've done. She's used her marketing knowledge and abilities to really promote us specific levels, and it's been great.
Well, I love that story, and the marketing piece is maybe a little bit more kind of obvious to some, but the fact that you're using your engineering background too, and that is being brought to bear in the success of this business, I think is such a cool story.
Thank you. I think it is too.
Now, Chris, you and Karen are each other's partner and best friends, and I love that. But as we've discussed, you're also business partners, which I can only imagine it adds a whole other layer to your relationship. So inquiring minds want to know, what's it like running a business with your spouse?
I joke around and tell everybody we do have a unique partnership. I work shoulders down, she works shoulders up, and it works out great for us. But in reality, we both bring very different views to the business, and we each agree to listen to what each other has to say. And I think that's been the key to this is she's had some ideas that I may not agree with. She runs with them and they've turned out to be successful. And I've even had a couple myself.
Well, if this Cream City thing doesn't work out for you, you might go into marriage counseling because it sounds like you got that nailed down.
Well, you know when happy wife, happy life, and she's always right.
Can you call my husband after the podcast? That'd be great.
I'll do that.
Hey, 35 years of marriage and 11 going on 12 years of co-owning the business together. I'd say you guys have found a recipe for success. And part of that success, I know, has been just this iconic Cream City sign. I mean, that's so quintessential to the business, to Cookeville. I was thinking about this the other day. If somebody asked me the three most recognizable structures in Cookeville, I've got my mental list. It is Derryberry Hall, the cupola at Derryberry. It is our Putnam County Courthouse on the square, and it's the Cream City sign. I mean, that is the trifecta in Cookeville. So for our listeners who may not know, I mean, this is a historic 3-ton neon sign that is one of the most, as we said, most recognizable structures anywhere in the Upper Cumberland. In fact, it's the second oldest neon sign in the state of Tennessee and was named one of the top 100 neon signs in the country by American Road magazine. But we also know that because of the sign's age, it's no small feat keeping it operational. So to that end, the local nonprofit Cityscape now partners with you all and serves as the caretaker of this beautiful sign. So can you tell us a little bit more about the significance of this sign and how this unique partnership with Cityscape helps to ensure that it will be protected for many years to come?
Yes. Well, as we were talking about earlier, the sign is over 70 years old. It is mostly all mechanical neon. The timers are all mechanical. And the issue is if a part breaks, it's hard to replace. We just can't go to Amazon or Google and search for something like that. It's a custom made part, and it's just very expensive to maintain from that aspect. Being out in the weather, obviously, that takes its toll on it too. So Cityscape stepped in, and it actually got started back when the Blue Cross Bowl was still here in Cookeville. They wanted it on specific times, and at that time we really couldn't do it due to worried about excessive wear. But they came in, and they've been a great partner. Worked on the sign on a regular basis, have a group out of Nashville that comes up here, and we've done some fundraisers with them this past summer. We did a scoop for the sign, and we had local celebrities and Cityscape members come in from, Mark Wilson. And Jeff and Coach Pelfrey were in here to scoop with us, and Mark's wife Melanie, Buffy Key from the hospital, and Hannah Davis, who we kind of double dip with Hannah. She came in and scooped for us, but we buy her wonderful coffee at Vertical, and just a lot of folks we really enjoyed being a part of, coming in and scooping with us and sharing the day, and able to raise some money specifically for the sign.
It was a great day, and it was a lot of fun to have people that scooping ice cream besides you and your wonderful staff and family. And I guess, it really makes you feel good about buying ice cream when you're doing something good for your community. I would say that sign is probably one of the most photographed signs in all of Putnam County. I know that the Visitors Bureau is right next door. And so my office gets to be your neighbor 24 hours a day. And we see all the people from morning until late at night. And they're always out there taking pictures. And then, of course, they have to go in and eat some ice cream and have some coffee. So it's a wonderful community asset that we have here. And for tourism, we're grateful because we promote that as a destination. And it's easy to promote because it's so nostalgic. It is historic. And it's just an adorable, magical place that not all towns have. So we're grateful for that. Now, Chris, we like to end each interview with the same question. What is one way that Tennessee Tech has impacted your life?
That's where I met Karen, and Tech is the reason we still live in Cookeville. I was from Nashville. She was from Crossville. Our brother-sister dorm back in the day. This was when you had to go. I had to go visit her. I actually had to sign in, and we got kicked out. It was all locked gated entry to the women's dorms, and that's where we met. And that's why I owe a ton of my life. The best parts of my life are because of Tennessee Tech and meeting Karen.
I love that. Tennessee Tech has been, they're better than Match.com. We hear from all of our interviews. I would say, wouldn't you think, Jonathan, maybe 80% of our interviews credit Tech as being the way they met their spouse. So Tech and true love just go hand in hand.
Yes.
Now, Chris, we have had a wonderful time talking about the joys of Cream City ice cream and your lovely wife, Karen. Thank you so much for being our guest today on College Town Talk.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here.
And for our listeners, you can find Cream City Ice Cream and Coffee House at 119 West Broad Street in Cookeville and online at creamcitycookeville.com. Welcome back to College Town Talk. We are now joined by the winner of Tennessee Tech's 2024 Outstanding Young Alumna Award, Brittany Herman. Brittany graduated summa cum laude from Tech in 2017 with a degree in English and a 4.0 GPA. During her years on campus, she played in the Golden Eagle Marching Band and Concert Band and was a member of the Tech Swim Club. Following her time at Tech, Brittany went on to graduate cum laude from Brigham Young University's J. Reuben Clark Law School and earned a Master of Laws in Taxation from Georgetown University Law Center. She went on to establish the nonprofit We Will, an organization dedicated to sexual assault prevention and survivor empowerment. Brittany has traveled across the country advocating for survivors and helping legislators write and pass meaningful changes in law. Brittany was published in 2019 for her research regarding sexual assault prevention education and has developed her own curriculum, including a children's book, which has been distributed to more than 2,000 families and translated into multiple languages. Today, Brittany makes her home in Salt Lake City, but she was back in Tennessee's College Town just last month to receive her well-deserved award, and we're going to ask her all about it. Brittany, welcome to College Town Talk.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. I mean, just getting to, kind of revisit my time about Tennessee Tech and reflect on it. I am just so excited to talk to you today.
We're excited too, and there's a lot to reflect on because you had a very impactful and consequential few years here at Tech. But let's start by talking about this award, which is really a reflection of all that you did in your time at Tech and then in the years since. So as we shared in the opener, you are the reigning 2024 Outstanding Young Alumna Award winner, which is given to just one accomplished Tech graduate every year under the age of 40. And I just rolled off the alumni board. So I remember in the awards committee when we were looking at the nominations and you always like to say, oh, it was such a hard decision. Well, it really wasn't that hard. There was a pretty clear and quick consensus on your nomination when we saw that one. And I had the chance to attend the banquet in November and heard your acceptance speech. It was such a sincere, heartfelt message. Tell us, if you would, how you first learned that you would receive the award, because we always like to ask people about that. We talked to Randy Wilmore, the Outstanding Service Award winner, and it's fun to hear people recount just how, I imagine it was maybe a phone call. So tell us about that, and then how it felt to be in the room that evening with your family and loved ones, and so many people gathered there to honor you.
Well, first I want to say thank you for your kind words about my nomination. I mean, I know a Tech alumni. I know that they're amazing, and so getting the award and even just getting that phone call was absolutely insane. It's funny. I refuse on my life to answer any call from anyone who's not in my contacts list, but I saw the area code and that next 3 digits that indicate that it was a Tech number. I'm like, well, can't go wrong answering a Tech phone call. Honestly, I expected it would be one of the student callers, just asking for money. But I actually worked as a student caller. So I was like, I don't know, I'll pay it forward to that kid working in the booth and hopefully brighten their day a little bit. But it was the Alumni Center calling to tell me that I got the award. I think I pretty much immediately started just crying. I absolutely love Tennessee Tech. And like I said, I know a lot of the alumni are very outstanding, especially a lot of people that I graduated with. And so to be able to receive the award was just an absolute honor. I remember my first phone call after that was my mom, and I don't know, my mom's a big crier too. And so she was just talking to me about how proud she was of me. And so then, transitioning to the awards banquet, it was a really humbling experience. I don't think I've ever been in a place where a string quartet was performing and I was the honoree. And so that was definitely an experience, especially having, been a musician at Tech, to have some people playing there. It was just really fun. And to be in that room, with such amazing people. I mean, I was the first person to give my acceptance speech, and then there was 3 more honorees after me. And I think, of course, I felt humbled beforehand, but after hearing everything else that everyone had done, it was like, wow, I'm at the same banquet as these people, and that was really amazing. Being there with my family, especially, it was a really great experience. My dad isn't really much of a crier, but as I was going up to receive the award after they read my bio, I saw that he was crying, and it wrecked me for the beginning of my speech. So I got a little peeved at him for showing all the emotion, but it worked out well, and I really had a good time there.
Parents, what are you going to do?
Right, right.
Now, Brittany, your work on behalf of sexual assault survivors is truly inspiring. And I know that that impacts so many. But I'd like you to tell us more about the We Will organization and how that organization started, maybe how it drives positive change today. And if you don't mind, why this cause is so important, particularly to you.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start with that latter half of the question. So I was sexually assaulted as a teenager by my high school boyfriend, and it was through coercion. So I actually didn't understand for a long time that what happened to me qualified as sexual assault. It wasn't actually until I was working as a student orientation assistant at Tech, and they kind of changed the Title IX presentation in the few years since I had Tech orientation. And so I was just in there with some of my students and listening to the presentation, and the presenter was talking about consent and what that looks like. And she talked about coercion. And I kind of realized all in one moment, it was like, oh, that's what happened to me. And there was finally words to it where there'd been a lot of shame associated with that experience and feeling like I'd done something wrong and not being willing to talk about it with anyone. And so hearing that information for the first time, I mean, I'm really grateful for Tech for even giving me that experience and being able to help me on my healing journey. And really, what it came down to when it came time to do what's called a substantial writing paper in law school. In order to graduate, you're just supposed to do 25 pages or more about any legal topic that interests you. I didn't know what type of law I wanted to go into yet. I don't know if you could tell from the bio, I'm a bit of like an overachiever and like a type A person. And so I was like, I just want to get this done as soon as possible. So I started it the moment that I could in law school. And I couldn't think of a legal topic that I wanted to write it on, but I did think about the fact that I'd been sexually assaulted and how it wasn't fair that my community and my schools, they've really failed me, I thought, because a lot of sexual assault teaching or really sexual education generally in the South is very unhelpful, to say the least. It's very shame-based. It's very abstinence only, like kind of you're going to get a STI, you're going to get pregnant, all of these other things. And it doesn't talk about what it looks like to have healthy consensual relationships, even if they're not sexual in nature. I'm very much of the opinion that consent applies to even just like giving someone a hug. Like it's very straightforward. And so I just felt like my community had failed me by not talking about what sexual assault looked like. I thought, rape, sexual assault was an attack that happened, in a dark alleyway sort of thing. I didn't think it could be by someone who cared about me. So I decided to write my paper about sexual education laws in various states and how that affected the rate of rape. So I looked at the 5 states with the highest rate of rape and the 5 states with the lowest rate of rape and wrote my paper about that. That's the published paper we were talking about earlier. And there was such a strong correlation that my professor had me redo the analyses like 3 different times just to show that the correlation was that strong. So of course we can't call it causation, but I think it's causation. And so really after doing that paper, it was just very eye-opening to me that there needed to be a change. And so I thought, well, I'm going to volunteer with an organization that's working on this work. And I couldn't find one. And I thought, well, I can start one. So that's really where We Will came from. And it drives positive change by working on legislation that improves sexual education laws, works on having ways that families and parents can open up those conversations at home and really be involved in teaching their kids about these concepts to prevent what happened to me from happening to anyone else. And I always say, if I can prevent one sexual assault or help one survivor even feel a little bit better about what they went through, then all of my work will be worth it.
Talk about that name, We Will. What is behind that name?
When I was determining what the organization would do, I was just writing the mission statement first. And I kept wanting to say, like, we aim to end sexual assault. It is our goal to end sexual assault. But I really thought, like, no, we will. Like, this will make a difference. We will prevent sexual assault. We will empower survivors. And, like, it's just one of those things where it's like, I can live with what happened to me, but I couldn't live with myself if I knew I could prevent this from happening to others and I chose to do nothing. So it really is, it's a we will. Like, this is the work that I will do, and I will put a stop to it.
Brittany, you have such a powerful story of how you've taken something so awful and tragic and used that to inform really, positive work that's making a difference. And I think for anybody that wasn't familiar with We Will or your story, they're now seeing, I think, why you're the 2024 Outstanding Young Alumna Award winner. And you've had such an impactful career already in the less than 8 years that you've been a Tennessee Tech alumna. I had to check my math when I was writing out this question, just because you've accomplished so much already. You've met with and lobbied top policymakers like Utah's U.S. Senator Mitt Romney. You've been a volunteer attorney for refugees living in detention centers on the U.S. border. You have personally counseled sexual assault survivors, and the list goes on. So when you think about all of your career accomplishments and the many ways you've moved the ball down the field, is there something that stands out to you as maybe the most personally meaningful or rewarding?
I love people. I'm like, sorry if I get a little bit emotional talking about this, but I think human beings are just so, so beautiful and they just deserve the best in life. And so really, what's been most impactful for me are those one-on-one interactions. It's been, talking about my sexual assault and having, people come out of the woodworks from all different parts of my past of my life and saying, you know what, that happened to me too. And thank you for saying something about it. I think one particularly impactful experience was when I was working at the US border. There for individuals seeking refuge in the United States. I'm not sure how familiar most listeners are with asylum laws, so sorry if I'm over explaining it a little bit, but in order to get asylum into the United States, you have to show that you've been threatened in some way, that it really is just completely unsafe to go back to your country, and that you're being discriminated against based off of all these different factors. And I don't think that there's a single woman that I ran into in that period of my life who hadn't been sexually assaulted, who hadn't been threatened in some way. I remember one woman just completely breaking down to me, and I was really thankful to be able to, meet her there and, speak with her in her language about the experiences that she had had, and really, showing me this evidence of unspeakable horrors and these, photos that she'd received of threatenings and, her children and everything that had happened to them. And I think just really recognizing, I've been through a lot. I think a lot of people have. Everybody has their hard, but kind of being humbled in the sense that it's like, you know what, like there's a lot going on out there, and all things considered, I have it pretty good. And so paying it forward and really working with people and making them feel heard, making them feel loved, that's what sticks out the most to me.
Now, Brittany, you're a true Renaissance woman because in addition to your noble legal and nonprofit work, you're also an accomplished musician. And perhaps we might ought to start calling you Sandra Bullock, because I have it on good authority that you also have a background in pageantry and you even won Miss Congeniality. Can you tell us a little bit more about that expansive piece of your background?
I would love to. So growing up in the South, pageants are huge. And my mom's a little bit more conservative. And growing up, I kind of like mentioned to her, oh, I want to do this. And she supports me in everything, but I kind of felt like a little bit of discouragement in that area. And like maybe it wasn't the right fit. We also grew up in poverty. Well, I don't know if poverty is the right word, but we were really poor. And so it just wasn't super achievable for us to be able to do that. So after I graduated college and went on to law school, I thought, you know what, it's now or never. Life is meant to be lived. I want to try all the things. I want to have all the experiences. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to try a pageant and we'll see how it goes. And I became completely hooked. I became addicted to the pageant world. There's something about the pretty dresses and beyond that and deeper than that is connecting with really astounding women across the United States and who are doing really incredible things. They're all very service oriented. A lot of them inspired some of the work that I was doing with my nonprofit. One of them actually came up with the idea for the children's book, and really creating that network of incredible people who are all just looking to advance others. I think that has been just a super impactful experience for me. And in 2022, I think it was, I was grateful to earn the title of Miss Ohio Volunteer. So for those not familiar, there's kind of three big pageant systems. There's Miss America, there's Miss USA, and there's Miss Volunteer America. And so I had the chance to go to the national pageant, which had always been a huge dream of mine, something I never really thought that I'd accomplish. I remember when I won, all of my pictures just looked ridiculous because my mouth just like fell open and I didn't move. And I just kind of stood there like, I don't know what's happening. It's absolutely amazing. It's kind of one of those moments where your dreams come true. And so I went to the national pageant, and going to a national pageant, you know that you're going with a bunch of women who have accomplished a lot, who have resumes that are just completely like they blow you out of the water, the fact that these women even exist. And so it's an honor to just even be there. But it's a competition. And so you think, what am I going to do here? What am I going to achieve? And I had no expectations that I was going to win. I thought, like, I'll just work my hardest. And going there, I just thought, I just want to be completely myself. And like I said earlier, I just want to make people feel loved. And so going there thinking like, I'm going to be completely myself, I'm going to make people feel loved. I had a really, really amazing experience there. And I think that that's maybe part of the reason that I won Miss Congeniality. I mean, I think of the woman that I voted for, and I think she should have won, and all these other women should have won. And so it was really a great experience, especially because growing up, I was someone who had a really hard time making friends. I was really shy. My teachers in school kind of thought I was mute for a long, long time until I got to middle school. I was just shy and I felt awkward and I didn't like being myself. And so then to have come so far in my life to that point to where I felt comfortable being myself, I felt, like I could be who I was, and to make a lot of friends during that experience. I think, of course, I didn't have to win Miss Congeniality to have that proven to me that people like me and that I'm okay being myself. But it definitely, I don't know, kind of confirmed to me that that sense of, you know what, I'm enough. And like I said, I knew I was enough before, but it was just especially an honor to have other people recognize that.
Well, Brittany, we like to end each interview on this show with the same question, and that is, what is one way that Tennessee Tech has impacted your life?
I was grateful that you guys sent me these questions in advance, because this is one that I don't know if I'd been hit with it in the moment that I would really be able to eloquently express myself. And I still don't know that I'm going to be able to put into words adequately what Tennessee Tech has done for me. I mean, like I talked about earlier, Tennessee Tech is the whole reason that I found out that what happened to me qualified as sexual assault. I mean, that's where the idea and the basis for my nonprofit was born. It's where I first received counseling for what happened to me. It's where I was just able to overcome a lot of that shame and all of that. But really, I think what it comes down to, and this is something I talked about in my acceptance speech a little bit, is I moved a ton growing up. I've lived in 10 different states, even more so after I graduated from tech. And Tennessee Tech, it was one of the places I've lived the longest. I was there for 3 years because I did my college a little bit faster than some other people. And coming back to tech, coming back to Cookeville, it really felt like home. It felt like, a place where I felt just comfortable. It's like, this is my place. I was excited to show my family and friends who came with me down there, all these places that really formed who I was and helped me become the person that I am. And I'm really grateful to have gone there. It was one of those things I applied on a whim. It was my high school boyfriend told me to apply. And that's the only reason I applied to tech. I didn't think I'd ever go there, but praying about it and considering that, I felt like God was calling me to tech. And I truly, truly don't believe that I would be who I am without having called Tennessee Tech home.
Okay, so buried in your response there is the fact that not only did you graduate from Tech summa cum laude, but you did it in 3 years, which just makes it even more impressive.
Agreed.
Listen, it was an accident. Okay, basically what happens is when I went to sign up for classes, the person who helped me signed me up for 20 credits. So I thought that was normal. I mean,
Wow.
not a lot of people in my family had gone to college, so I didn't know what college should look like. So I just always took 20 credits. And I remember Shirley Laird, one of the professors there who just really formed my experience. She was my advisor, and she said to me, like, "Oh, have you applied to graduation?" And I was like, "No, I still have another year." And she's like, "No, girl, you're done." And I was like, "Oh." So
Whoa.
that's how we ended up there.
Brittany, thank you for being our guest today on College Town Talk. We appreciate your time, and we're, I think, all inspired by your story and what you do. And thanks for being with us, and hope you have a really happy holiday.
Of course, thank you guys so much, and happy holidays to you as well.
And for our listeners, you can connect with Brittany and learn more about her work and advocacy by visiting her website, BrittanyHerman.com. That's Brittany spelled Brittney.